So I've been so gobsmacked by all that's going on in the UK and the US, considering trans rights. And I had no words. And when I see all the wonderfully eloquent trans activists that I admire so, in these last couple of weeks, I just didn't know what to add to that. And I also didn't feel comfortable anymore just posting videos about Lou on my channel on YouTube. So I feel like a coward when I don't do anything trans online. So I think I'm just gonna go on and tell my story in snippets. And the last time I ended with my mom telling me that she would rather put me in a psychiatric ward when I was 6 years old and told her I was trans than that she would ever allow me to transition. And so I realized very young that it was a bad thing to be different and to be effeminate. And whenever I was spontaneously myself, I was very effeminate, and people would, especially men, I'm so glad that my dad never did that, but all the other men in my atmosphere, the family and teachers, they would do this thing with their body language. They would twist the corner of their mouth and exhale in a certain way that told me that was wrong. Singing and dancing or giggling or screaming in a high pitch. And meanwhile, all the children I knew called me girl and gay and told me I was too girlish to be a boy. One of my father's sisters was a ballet dancer. Ballet, not belly. If she would have been a belly dancer, it would be great too. But I really loved her. We looked alike to such a point that when I was in a room with her and my mother, that people would automatically think I was her child. And I wanted to be like her, and I had seen her dance once, and I was like, Mom, can I do ballet? And of course, the answer was always no. And my sister was born with a vagina, which really, really made clear to me that there was something very wrong with me having a penis and not a vagina. So I had seen my parents naked, so I knew that when you grow up and you have a vagina, you look like my mother, and when you grow up and you have a penis, you look like my father. And no matter how much I loved my father, I didn't want to grow up to look like him, but I wanted to be the one with the dresses and the long hair and the mascara and the emotional presence. And my sister was born also with something was wrong with her hip joints, meaning she had to ride horseback from a very young age. So when she was 2, they put her on a little Shetland pony every day in the early morning and made her ride. And she couldn't ride, she couldn't even sit there. And she was a very wild and really feisty child. So she would rip at the horse's mouth with the, I don't know what you call it in English, those leather belts that are there, And they made me sit behind her and hold her. And so I learned to ride horse from when I was about 6 years old with just my legs and my voice, which was great. And the horses really, really gave me an emotional support in my life. So whenever I would ask my parents to please let me go to ballet school, they would be like, well, you have to give up horse riding. And I couldn't do that. The love for animals has always, since then, always kept me from having a career. Yeah. So the last time I really, really begged my mother for ballet lessons, she had this way of saying, well, I'd better not tell your father this. And that was how she kept me away from my dad. Because I think when I would have talked to him seriously, he would have somehow helped me with that. And she knew that intuitively. And yeah, that was her way. And so that last time she said, well, better not tell your father, but I'll talk to one of your aunts about it. Of course, she didn't talk to the ballet aunt. She talked to one of her friends. And she sat me down and she said, well, we decided it's very bad for you because you would label yourself. And I was like, label myself as what? And she was like, well, as very effeminate and maybe gay. And I was like, am I not called effeminate and gay every day of my life at school and playing with kids in the neighborhood? So what if I embraced that? What would be so bad about that? And she told me that it would be very, 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 very bad, and that I just didn't know how bad yet because I was still a child. Yeah. So I'm almost going over. I really loved my mom. I still love her, and she loved me. We never understood each other.